Hello everyone, welcome to the Social Club. We've got a very Mersey-ish twist this week, which you'll all love.
Who's the ish?
Well, these are from Wales, aren't they?
So surely it was like a Wales twist. Norwegian, Millers.
Well, I didn't want to open
And
it.
the Scouts just want to hear. So
I didn't want to open.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah?
On the Scouts.
Why is that?
Why?
Doesn't matter. No, I don't care.
Because I grew up closer to the river, so that makes me more Scouts.
What if you...
That's how you justify
There's
it.
people on the right, on the... It doesn't... No one watching cares.
No.
Anyway...
Basically, what I'm saying is people from Kirby and not from Liverpool.
This weekend. And a number of the bigger sides in the competition, look, they decided to take it seriously. Spurs being one of the obvious examples of that. We're talking to Flav, obviously our Bullshit and the Fighting Cock podcast, and he was surprised how strong Pochettino went for this game. So I guess it kind of leads to a follow-on question of, do Spurs need an FA Cup win? Now, we've seen, you see the meltdowns at Arsenal, always going to be time for that. Chris, I'll come to you on this first.
Biased.
We know that...
Because I'm the most Scouse here.
Because of how, Spurs ran it pretty close in terms of the Premier League last season, but they've not gotten closer to the title this year, per se. The Champions League was a bit of a disaster. The Europa League's not going particularly well. And yet, Arsenal are having, by all accounts, a little bit of a better season than Spurs, and yet their fans are in meltdown and Spurs not. Do you think this could be the tipping point soon where Pochettino probably needs to get a piece of silverware under his belt?
I think he should. Yeah, I think he's a good coach, but he's not gone out and proved it yet, has he? Really, by winning a major honour with Tottenham. He had a good couple of years with Southampton. He's developing this Tottenham side. I did a little bit of research. The difference is with Tottenham, they're not that big a club. Do you know what I mean?
No, they're not.
They have been in existence for 134 years.
They're not.
Right?
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
Right? They've won 2 top division titles, 8 FA Cups, 4 League Cups, a UEFA Cup Winners' Cup and 2 UEFA Cups. That means they've won 17 major honours. They're averaging 1 every 8 years. They're about half a season overdue.
Yeah.
Right
All
now.
told.
All told.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because they last won the League Cup, and before that it was years, wasn't it, again? So
Yeah.
they want to be considered a big club. They need to start winning trophies.
Yeah.
Much like Liverpool and Everton. I'm not saying...
No, absolutely.
They're more of an NFL franchise at the moment, aren't they? Than anything
They look
else.
to be, don't they?
Yeah. What do you reckon, Ped? Do you think they've escaped, like Pochettino and co, have escaped a bit of criticism?
Not really, because I think he tried to do it one way last year, where he did throw all his eggs in one basket and sacrifice things. And I think this season he's looking to think, well, I've got a strong young squad. Let's just keep pushing it to the line. Because I do think last season he was focused primarily on the Premier League, and when that fell to bits, he ended up finishing third, didn't he? No one ever, even if he'd finished second, no one goes, "Oh, you've had a great season, you runners up," especially in that season last season. So I think he has to win a trophy, and I think your first one is always your hardest, and that's why I think Mourinho's been so successful. He always targets that League Cup first. Get it out the way. Get that one out the way. It's probably the easiest to win. And Spurs, I suppose what's driving Spurs on as well is, and it might sound stupid, it's the Arsenal factor. They're in there. Because I was talking to Chris about this last week. I think Tottenham have been very good in the last few years as a club, is pushing themselves, promoting themselves as Arsenal's rivals. So whereas our club's fucked up on, it's tried to be like the little brother to Liverpool, and isn't it great, we're going to scrappy-do and beat them.
Yeah.
Tottenham, I think, have gone toe for toe and said, we're going to show in derbies and all the rest of that we're as big as them. All right, it hasn't worked on the pitch and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's why the fact that Arsenal's still in the trophy, they've got to be trying to keep pushing that.
I wonder with Spurs, because I get what Ped's kind of saying. We've made this point, but Everton have almost marketed themselves. The marketing reflects the situation in the city to some extent, and I think Spurs have that. And I think Spurs are still in a position where, and maybe Spurs fans will disagree with me, but if they were to finish above Arsenal this season, they've waited for that for so long that's a success in and of itself. That I think maybe this is a season where they could maybe get away with it. An FA Cup would probably still be a bit of a bonus, but I don't think it can be too long before. There must be a hunger for silverware there from the fans, and that's only going to get bigger and bigger.
Of course, you can't listen. We've had it with finishing above Liverpool a few times in recent years, but it's great because you can say, oh yeah, but if you're finishing without anything else, that kind of carries for about 3 weeks, and then you forget about it and go, well, we still won as much as you and all that. And I think for Tottenham, I kind of disagree with Chris's point in terms of it. They're not a big club, because throughout my life they've always been one of the big 5, big 6, whatever. I include us in that, by the way, as well. Obviously, Chelsea and City were latecomers.
You don't count Chelsea and
with
City.
money. Well, they are now, aren't they? The big teams, aren't they? Big clubs, big teams. They are.
Big 7 now.
Spurs are, but until you start delivering trophies, you can only go so long. We spoke last week about Arsenal and Wenger's philosophy and what's he building, and this journey that he's going on, where's it leading? Because it's not really going anywhere. Well, Pochettino's got a really good young side there, but if he gets through this season and they duck out the FA Cup, that it doesn't look like they're going to catch Chelsea in the Premier League, they're 1-0 down in the Europa League, you don't know how that's going to go. Another season without silverware, when they've been close to really being able to take that next step. This is a bit like Mourinho. This is the first one. You get this one. Yeah, it's an FA Cup to Man City or to Chelsea might just be an FA Cup, but to someone like Spurs, I think that's quite a major honour and something that you can really build your progress towards.
And it's one thing, and Chris, like, obviously been a bit facetious before, but Dele Alli and
not like Chris.
Dele Alli and Kane, how long are they going to stick around without silverware? Do you know what I mean? Most clubs will have this.
Kane said he doesn't want to go anywhere else.
Well, I didn't hear it properly.
But the Dele Alli's a good example. He's already moved, hasn't he? You know what I mean?
You only get it. Yeah, you only get that. You only get that honeymoon period for maybe 2-3 seasons when it's an up and coming club, an up and coming manager. Yeah. They've got to prove. I think Redknapp said the other day, didn't he? Redknapp said they're going to win the league within 4 years. Now it's all right saying that. You've got to go and actually do it.
I actually think it's quite refreshing in some respects, though, because the Spurs fans are not losing the shit over this.
No.
To be honest, I don't think they should, and I don't think they should. And we talked about it. I think Arsenal fans, and just from seeing the reactions, I'm not saying, like, again, we'll talk a bit. We're going to be talking a bit about Arsenal Fan TV and the Gary Neville stuff and what I feel later on today. But they're not necessarily archetype or Arsenal fans as such. But you've come to associate the outlandish reactions more with Arsenal than you would with Spurs or fans of other clubs.
The big problem is, though, very quickly, they haven't got a platform to put it. I mean, they've only talked about a YouTube channel.
If only the Fighting Cock decided to pull it. And there was a Spurs channel, wasn't there? Yeah. I wonder what happened to them.
I don't know. Maybe they run out of money or something.
Maybe they ran out of corporate money.
I don't know.
Stop with me. It's X Factor's back this year.
They've had to bring the big guns back out.
Louis Walsh's bullshit. Let's talk that.
But I think, Chris, it's refreshing in some regards.
Hang on.
You look at a young manager.
Why haven't you got a YouTube channel for Tottenham, by the way?
You've got a young manager with a young squad. There's no demands for overnight success in that, because let's face it, we've had this debate. Tottenham haven't established themselves as a top 4 side yet. As another season within top 4, it's not. It's not single. It's not open top bus tour shit. But having a plan in place and remaining level-headed, it's not a bad thing.
Since they last won a trophy, 2008 League Cup or whatever it was, they finished 6th, 5th a couple of times, 4th a couple of times, and 3rd. Not in that order, but they bounced around. They are a well-run club. I actually like the model that they've gone with. Yeah. I think Liverpool are trying to sort of replicate that Tottenham model. I think we're a couple of years behind them. In terms of they received a lot of money from a big name player who didn't win any trophies at the club and all that type of stuff as well. And I like the way that their fan base is. I think they're a respectful fan base. They understand the traditions of the club. I was being facetious before. They understand that it's going to take time. They've got a young manager in who was a great player, who's now doing good things with his team. They're building a team for the future. They're developing their football club. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Yeah. They're competing with teams who have spent a lot more money than them, like a lot of teams in the Premier League are. But there does come a point where you go, hang on a minute, we need to start seeing something back. Yeah.
Well, ideals come to the hard brick wall of modern football eventually. We were discussing this on Redmen about Klopp and where his future could potentially lie if another club would want him, and how it would work with Liverpool and what a potential next Liverpool manager would look like. And it's so much of it is dependent on the success that he has at Liverpool. If he has some success at Liverpool, his star only continues to rise. Whereas if he has a couple of years where it doesn't quite work out, then people will quickly forget the success of the past. Pochettino doesn't have that to fall back on. And you said as well, I wouldn't mind Pochettino at Liverpool. For me, I like him and I like his method, but he needs to prove himself in terms of being able to win stuff, but also handling the pressure of being at that. And Spurs are going to transition. They're going to get a bigger stadium. They're hoping to be a consistent Champions League presence. They need to shed that plucky underdog title, and then they need to see how they can.
But I think the difference
at the top end.
The difference is now is, everyone gave Wenger some time when they were going through the new stadium and the transition. Tottenham aren't even in the new stadium yet. So, all right, I don't know the full ins and outs of the workings of how the money works with that stadium, but that must be financially hurting them somewhere. And maybe we won't see them really sort of spread the wings until they're in that stadium. They've got a little bit of that off the back.
Don't forget, though, they've got one of the richest owners in the world. He just doesn't. He's just, people don't even know his name, but he's one of the richest men in the world.
Joe Lewis.
Baz knows his name. But he does. He's almost in the background, just making sure what he has is kept. Things like the stadium, he'll be overlooking that and making sure that it'll pay for itself in the end. But he's helping that.
I just think the thing with Spurs though is that in that an established top four side, over the last 5 years, they've probably been in it 3 times or something like that. So I would say they are. The difference where I think the landscape is changing is that for so many years, there was the Sky 4, because you were well in it, but there was really only, great days, it wasn't for us, there really was only those 4 teams. Everybody else was just like Spurs, like Everton and Villa had that few years where they were trying it. Newcastle were up there for a bit, trying to join in with them. But I think now, you've got 6. Everton are open to being that with the money. They've got 7. I don't see a situation where you will say Spurs top 4 every year, or Liverpool top 4 every year, or Arsenal, because I think the stronger that 7 gets, the more likely it is to interchange.
So you're saying, I guess, in that regard, then maybe a push for some silverware is actually more important than we think it is, because you can constantly be chasing that, eternally chasing the ephemeral, which is trying to nail down top 4 might not be possible to do anymore. And you're passing up opportunities to win cups along the way.
There's 3 domestic trophies to win every year, isn't there? Not everyone's 19 teams are going to be disappointed in the Premier League. So you're down to 2, aren't you? So why not? Like you said, like Ped said before, Mourinho, it's like part of his, it's almost, when you get the pamphlet about Mourinho, it's like, I'll win the League Cup first, get it out the way.
We always talk about the Man City stuff, don't we? And City won the FA Cup before they won the Premier League, didn't they? Because you need to teach your players how to win.
And your fans.
And your fans as
well. Your fans to get that patience to know when things aren't going.
But
we've won it. The only thing I don't like with Spurs, did you see the little graphic of the tunnel club?
Yeah.
And the players are coming on the tables with, the new stadium's going to be as they're walking on. While you look at them coming
on. The Galaxy have that.
LA Galaxy. No, it looked even worse because it looked like round tables just by didn't like
the
it.
Galaxy have got a bar where you can sit and have a
beverage. A lot of MLS clubs have that where there's a bar. But one thing I would say just very quickly is I don't think Spurs have marketed themselves as a underdoggy type club. I think that's what going back to before. I think they've stuck their chest out and said, we want to be part of it, and we will try and be part of it. I don't think at any point they've actually sat there and
but the point I'm kind of making of that is that they are a bit in Arsenal's shadow. So whereas Arsenal market themselves as a mega power and then fall short and everyone loses the shit, Spurs don't have those have those illusions, do they? They're still very much as we said, a sensibly run, good quality top end Premier League team. But if they no one goes, sack the manager when you get knocked out of the Champions League. Whereas we had it in 2006. Toward the end, Rafa Benitez and the Hicks and Gillette stuff, we were. Jürgen Klinsmann was being touted for the job because we were going to get knocked out of the group stages, and at Arsenal, when things go wrong, it's looking into why it's going wrong, where Spurs are allowed to fly under the radar a little bit because no one has that. But sorry, what I'm saying is they will cross out. They're going to have to cross that threshold at some point, and it's how they react. And getting a piece of silverware now before the expectations explode could actually make it a bit smoother for Pochettino.
I really hope they get to the final, by the way, for one simple reason. Chaz and Dave Wembley song.
Oh my word, that would be absolutely exceptional.
Oh, he's on the way to Wembley.
Tottenham gonna do it again.
Love it. Kids everywhere
the
like...
boys from Tottenham.
Yeah. There you
Knees
go.
have gone old trembly.
But it's interesting because just looking at how the draw pans out, it could potentially be Spurs Arsenal semi-final, Spurs Arsenal City,
Could be
whatever, in the
basically
semi-final.
top four,
So they'd end
top
up.
five.
So they could end up with more likely to end up with City or United potentially in a final.
Good little story about that song very quickly. Me and a bunch of mates went to Barcelona once and abused a load of prostitutes on the rambles by singing that song to them.
By singing
Yeah.
to them,
Yeah.
not by
Well-
using
We'll leave it there.
body parts.
No.
Right,
Just by
okay.
singing that Chas and Dave to them.
Go ahead. How did it?
Although your
Doesn't
mouth is
matter.
a body part.
I had it all on video as well. And
Using the mouths
I had it all on
harass
video as well.
prostitutes.
And I lost my phone in the taxi on the way to the airport.
That old chestnut.
Devastated.
Oh,
all
devastating. Did you leave it
filmed.
in one of the rooms?
I was devastated.
It's fine. Anyway, let us know your thoughts. Have you ever harassed Madrid? Was it?
What?
Where was it?
It was in the Rambles.
The Rambles.
Barcelona.
Basically what we do, you know when they come
Barcelona.
over to you and they start like trying to fill you up, because basically just pickpockets, aren't they, really? And that, all our mates were like,
Not everyone in the Rambles is
Hey,
no.
We just want
Madrid,
that
I got my
pointed
bag
out.
wrong.
and then we circled like the man we come over, then we just come closer, all the lads just come closer and closer, and then we all just started jumping up and it was fucking boss.
Absolutely.
If anyone's got Ped does Barcelona
Try it.
on video, please send it in.
That's incredible. So, let us know your thoughts on the Spurs situation in the comments below. Still to come on Social Club this week. Arsene Wenger said he's going to be managing somewhere next season. Where could that be if it's not Arsenal Football Club? And this week we saw Gary Neville and Robbie and all the Arsenal Fan TV crew squaring off. But who won? We'll be chatting about that on the Social Club later today.